You said that you were really ill, you lost all your progress, and obviously at a very young age as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like deep down that's probably one of the reasons why you seek these thrills?
I think
Kind of.
I've always had a fear that my mobility can get taken away from me, or
Yeah.
my leg's going to get chopped off, or something's going to happen and like I'm not going to be able to walk. So I guess maybe a part of it is psychologically I've felt like I've always had to do these things whilst I still can. It's like a clock that's ticking down. I think so. When I was like 11 years old, I got diagnosed with a condition after having a swollen leg for I can't remember, I want to say 6 months or something like that. But yeah, I remember getting diagnosed with it, and I was devastated because I'd look at these images or like find out what it was, and you find out that there's nothing it can do about it. There's no cure. So I guess like there is that where I'm in that mindset of, oh, how much longer can you do this for? So you got to do everything.
Make the most of it.
I think it's really important, as you boys will know, to have a personal brand because it makes launching anything so much easier. Like it's like steroids for business, isn't it? Having a strong personal brand.
I genuinely think one of the biggest reasons that Trump won the election was because
obviously there's not one guy there like ha ha ha, but I feel like there was like a monopoly on like media and people just like myself just believing everything blindly. But I feel like now, due to that, a delusional belief in yourself, almost like a narcissistic delusional belief that you can do something. I think that's so important. I think that's what so many entrepreneurs and people that smash it have. Literal delusion. Like you tell someone something, people are gonna laugh at you, but you're so convinced that you're gonna be able to do it or it's gonna happen. You don't give a
Hey guys, welcome back to the Gooms podcast. Today we sat down with Mo, an online creator. We spoke about why he chases thrills, the benefits of meditation, his journey in business, and being diagnosed with a chronic disease at the age of 11. This is one of the most unique conversations that me and Chris have had on the pod to date. Thank you for all the support on the podcast, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and enjoy the episode.
the podcast itself like is just a great way to get content, meet people.
yeah.
Build a network. The amount of people that we've met through the pod is just
It's
ridiculous.
a win-win, really, bro. Yeah, that's sick. I was gonna say also, I think people love fucking speaking about themselves, so it's easy to get people on. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you go chat about yourself for an hour.
It's a great way to connect with people and have that value at the front end.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there's like Hormozy used to use for his business. Used to use podcast as a lead magnet.
Yeah.
For gym owners to get them in, and then just obviously get them on the podcast and then flow through to his agency.
Yeah.
Well, engagement magnet, he'd called it, wouldn't he?
It's what my friend Tom does the same. Who I'm living with at the moment. He has a podcast based on mental physique competing, and he gets clients from there, like, which is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, because you build out such a level of rapport when you sit down and speak with someone for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
For an hour.
He does his podcast like coaching, to funnel people
No,
into
so it's
coaching.
basically him and his mate Josh called Board Shorts and Banter. It'd just be like you two chatting and having a conversation. Say you wanted to have a conversation about fucking, I don't know, clapping chicks, right? You turn it into a podcast. Then your job is coaching guys to clap chicks. That's basically what they do.
Oh, they help other people do it.
No. So they are coaches themselves, but they just talk about fitness related stuff.
Right.
You know, so.
Oh, so they're not actually teaching people how to get in there?
What, with chicks?
Yeah.
No. I was giving the example of when you two sharing comedy. Like,
I was thinking, fuck me, what a great podcast and business model. This is how you get women, ladies and gentlemen. Nah.
Where did everything start for you, bro?
probably about 10 years ago, sort of with social media and fitness and those bits. It depends what do you define as everything.
I probably should have asked it in a different way.
Yeah.
But where did you start? Where did you start chasing thrills?
Chasing thrills. Oh man, I've done that all my life.
Have you?
Yeah, literally. I think it was conditioned into me by my dad when I was really young. Like we always used to do weird. So I'm from Cornwall. I was chatting to you boys before this, but I'm from Cornwall. Grew up in Cornwall. There's not a lot to do there. It's cold. It's dark. It's in the winter. It's like there's nothing to do other than like stuff outdoors. So me and my dad used to climb, used to go surfing, do all this other stuff. I think that kind of started to manipulate me into doing crazier shit or chasing those thrills. Do you know what I mean? And then, I don't know, it just stuck with me, man. I just kept doing more and more of it. And as I got a bit older, got more money to be able to do other things. I started skydiving, started to do other stuff. And yeah, I think it's just become part of me, like without getting too deep too quick. But I feel like it all comes down to fear as well. You know, like I always try and do things that scare me or I'm not comfortable doing. Step outside of the comfort zone and you're going to grow, that kind of thing. So
Well, it's the video of Will Smith actually jumping out of the plane
in
Dubai, and he was like, the best things in life are on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
And I mean, we haven't done a skydive yet. It's something that's on our
Oh, you're
list.
saying you wanted to do it over the palm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually that video that's kind of like got that in my head.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's probably better places to do it, but seeing that video and just like, being able, I love Dubai anyway. I just love Dubai, but yeah, being able to do that would be sick. But like I said, all the best things in life are on the other side of fear. And jumping out of a plane is pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, man. I think it's all comes down to, isn't it? It's like anything worth having as well is it takes an element of discomfort, whether it's losing weight on a diet, you know, you're going to be hungry. You're not going to be comfortable. It's not directly fear, is it? It's not that one thing. But I feel like everything ties into conditioning you to be better or grow, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, obviously I'm addicted to that dopamine from like that thrill from doing all the crazy shit that scares me and then surviving. But I think on a deeper level as well, it's doing the things that scare you is like what I think everyone should do to grow and become a better person.
Wait, what's the craziest thing that you've done?
In terms of what?
Just like the most dangerous thing that you've done to chase the thrill.
I don't know, man. Like it all kind of blurs into one. I've done a lot of skydives.
Throwing yourself out of a plane
I've come
on
up
your
to
own
400 on there. Yeah, I used to do like when I was younger, growing up. I used to go surfing a lot of crazy spots, like in front of cliffs where you couldn't get out and stuff.
Why?
Probably, it's just
the thrill.
it's just fun, you know. Like I used to be really into surfing. Probably, I don't know. One that comes to mind, probably one of the dumbest thing. I say dumb, or one of the sketchiest is I climbed a glacier with my friend when I was in university, like the guy I met from university, and like we were so unprepared. You're meant to use crampons, like this is in Iceland. You're meant to have like crampons that stick you to the glacier and ice axes and be roped up and other things. And we're like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll just go for a little walk on it. We had one ice axe each, and my friend had brought with him from where does he live? He used to do climbing in Scotland and other things. So we had like one ice axe each, climbed this glacier, and we got to the end of it. And kind of by the end of the glacier, there's these big crevasses and other things that literally just fall off into the abyss, and it's all ice. And I was walking, there's like this slope we wanted to leave the glacier. There's this slope, man. It was like covered in scree, so it was all dirt on top of it. I took a step down onto this slope to walk down this hill. Like it's just a steep hill, but we can kind of walk down it. And as soon as I stepped, it was just pure ice underneath. And the thin layer of soil moved. And I started to slide down towards the crevasse, and then managed to turn around. It's called an ice axe arrest. It's like what mountaineers do and climbers. And I just watched a YouTube video on this, like before. I was like, how to use an ice axe. I'd like never fucking done this or any kind of training. Sliding down this thing, turned around, managed to arrest myself from the ice axe and then stop. And then there was like the crevasse at the bottom. And then my friend caused a little rock fall as well on a landslide. I had to jump over. There's actually a video of this on my old YouTube channel. Yeah.
But like GoPro.
Yeah. It doesn't look that. It obviously it flattens everything out, but it's fucking gnarly, man.
Sounds like something out of a movie.
Yeah. Oh, dude. That was a pretty crazy one. But literally, like, yeah. So
That's nuts, bro. Well, how did you get into, like, obviously I know you said you've been a thrill seeker pretty much all your life and started from young, but when did you decide that I want to be able to throw myself out of a plane on my own? Because a lot of people go and they do it with the instructor on the back, like, yeah, it was great and that was it. And someone to pull your chute and you just kind of just go and you just have to focus on getting it done. When did you decide that you were going to be like, no, I don't want to do it that way. That's for pussies. I want to throw myself out, pull my own chute.
So I'd never done a skydive like that before. I'd never been skydiving. And I was like, you know what, let's just full send it and get a skydiving license. I was like, yeah, how fucking bad can it be? And I'm actually scared of heights as well. So I'll get like vertigo if I look over a side of a tall building. I don't know if that's normal or not, but I would like get wobbly knees, you know, so I don't like heights already. And even though I used to climb and stuff, like I used to cry when I was a little kid. My dad used to like force me to climb up. But yeah, so I've never skydived. I was like, the idea, I think it's probably, again, my dad was probably like, oh, this would be a cool thing to do when I was much younger. It always, like, I'd see these videos on Instagram and like YouTube and stuff of people doing crazy skydiving. I've always wanted to try it. And I was like, why not just get the license? So went to Portugal, booked in the license, and then before you do it, they make you do it. You have to do a tandem skydive at this place that I did it. You don't always have to do that, but they do it, so you kind of get used to it. And you get something called sensory overload. So because it's such a new, like through millions of years of evolution, right? You're told that if you're falling, you're dying, you know? If you're in free fall for that long, you're falling off a cliff to your death. Like your brain is literally, you guys will probably really enjoy it, but your brain is literally conditioned to be scared of this thing. So I was going up in the plane. I was with my friend actually, Brandon. Do you know Brandon Harding?
Oh yeah.
So we started doing this together. So we got this license together. I'll tell you what happened. Went up the plane for the first one. We were strapped to someone, and I was like going up, and in my head I was justifying it and telling myself like, oh yeah, it's gonna be chill, it's super safe. Like I was pretty relaxed. I wasn't really scared at this point. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be going up the plane. I was like having a good time going up. Got to the fucking door, bro. Door opens, so the plane's going at, it's like 15,000 feet. You're in this plane, and then little red light goes on the door, and they open the door. And then as soon as that door opened and you hear like 120, 130 mile an hour of wind whipping around and you're dragged to the edge of a plane, I was just like, I'm going to fucking die, bro. I'm going to die. And then the rest of it's kind of a blur, but basically setting it out of the plane, this is strapped to someone because this is the first one that you do. It was the worst experience of my life, mate. I didn't breathe. I forgot to breathe. I held my breath the whole way. I was literally, my body was like went into fucking shock. Yeah. And then the parachute opened, and then I got to the ground. I'd watched that Will Smith video as well. I can't remember if it was before. It might have been before I did it. It's quite an old video, isn't it?
Yeah.
I swear I watched it before. I don't know if the timelines line up, but I'm pretty sure I watched it before. And anyway, I got to the ground, and I was literally like, wanted to throw up and pass out, and was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. And then it wasn't like euphoria or bliss, but the majority of people, like a lot of people like really like get
Enjoy
this.
it.
Yeah, I think I'm just a pussy. And then I'd already paid for the whole course and booked the whole course. So
How much was it?
I think it's like a couple of grand, don't really remember.
Enough to say I can't really
It's
leave
subsidized
this
by the drop zone as well, because I made a video about it. So the sky, so I got a deal on it.
Yeah.
But I could have got a refund on it if I didn't want to do it, because Brandon did. So Brandon had the same experience.
Oh, no.
And he was like, never doing this again. And he was like, I'm not jumping out of a plane. So he went and got a refund, didn't do it for the rest of the time. And I was just like, you know what? I have to do it. Like, I have to do it. So did the next one you do is solo. Did a solo one by myself. So you jump out, you have like a day's briefing, like what to do, how to fly a parachute. And then same thing again, but you're not linked to anyone. So
Wait, so you do one, it's the worst experience of your life, and then they're like, oh, by the way, tomorrow
the next morning
you're jumping out on your own.
the next, bro, it was the worst night's sleep I ever had. The next morning they're like, like you're doing it by yourself. So you jump out, and there's two instructors holding on to you either side on the first jump, but then they let you go. And then also when you pull the parachute, you're by yourself as well. So it's like you're effectively on your own, you know? And then, I did that. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as the first one. And then gradually it got better and better and better and better. And now it's to a point where like I don't really get scared at all. It's just like that blissful, euphoric flying feeling.
You enjoy it?
Yeah. I still get nervous, but it's more so performance anxiety. Like if it's really fucking technically hard, man. Like have you ever tried to fly? Have you ever been to like an iFly, like in a wind tunnel?
No.
Oh, you should give it a go. Like it's really sick.
What's that?
When you walk in, it's like
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Bro, it's so difficult. It's literally like if you've never, it's like learning to walk. So because there's so much going on with your body's effectively a wing. So if your hand is like 3 degrees this way, you'll start spinning, and it's like so much. It's like learning to walk all over again.
nuts.
But every part of your body matters, so it's really hard. But yeah, once you.
So how have you done that? I can't get my head around the fact that you haven't actually taken a breath on your way down.
Yeah.
Got down, want to throw up, hated that. And then like literally within a couple of days, like you're doing it on your own to this level of detail as well. Like that's just nuts to
You just
me.
got to send it. I got it tattooed on my arm actually. It's like, don't think, do. You just got to, it's all good. You just got to fucking send it, man. Yeah, I think it's also like proving to yourself that you can do it. You know, the more something, I think there's, again, getting into like the mindset of it, I guess. It's like another thing I got tattooed on my arm. It's there for a reason. It's like aversion, ascension. It's like you're met with these things that, as you boys will know, that like a decision, be it like business, whatever it is, be it talking to a girl at the bar, like you're met with these decisions that are fucking scary. And then it's like you have a choice. You either act on the thing and do it and just send it, or you don't do it and you miss out. And I think like too many people make that choice of aversion. Like they don't speak to the chick that's giving them up because they're too scared of getting rejected, or they don't chase up the business, you know? And it's like, and then they just spend like, what is their life going to fucking look like? And for me, like that shit eats me up, like the thought of that. So I have to just go
It's
for
that
it.
comfort, isn't it? People like to stay in their comfort.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Are you quite spiritual?
In what way?
I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really too in touch with being spiritual, so I couldn't give you like, oh, in this way or that way. But I don't know. The vibes that you give me is like you're quite spiritual. You're quite in touch with, in tune with yourself and your mind.
I don't, to an extent. I like to read a lot. So I read a lot of books. I like to read a lot. I like to understand, try and understand myself and like why we think certain things. But I wouldn't say like spirituality, religious. I'm not necessarily religious.
Wait, like what would you like to find? Sorry to interrupt you, but what would you like to find out about how we think or like what we think?
Like why do I make certain decisions? Like why do I feel a certain way? Like why, you know, I feel like knowledge is power, and when you can understand yourself better, your life's probably going to be better. If you know why you always fuck up on a diet and eat loads of shit food every evening and you're a fat gluttonous slob. Do you know what I mean? If you understand the processes behind that, then you can stop it, you know? So.
Dope.
There you go.
No, it's dope.
But yeah,
Do you
man.
travel around the whole world and like jump out of the planes quite regularly, or is it something that you did it and then that's like kind of it?
Nah, I love it. I do it all the time. So
Yeah.
I've actually organised, I've got a few skydiving trips coming up with using my Instagram following. So could take a load of lads out to Spain. This one's all confirmed and ready to go. I literally, a few weeks ago, I was like, I've always wanted to do this. Like I think the fear of it not working kind of put me off it. I guess like fear of failure, isn't it? So I was like, just fucking send it. Like whatever happens, happens. And then, sold out within like 30 minutes. I'm taking 4 lads to Spain to get a big villa together, do their skydiving license. And yeah, man, I love it. So I'm going to be doing more of it, like taking people to do it. And it's just, I'd say it's my hobby really. Like the thing as well is like, you know, network is everything, don't you? Like the people, we chatted to this before we started the podcast, like how sick a podcast is that I get to meet you guys, like you get to connect with a lot of different people. I feel with skydiving, it's one of those things, it's got quite a high barrier to entry because of cost. You got to have a certain mindset to do it.
Because most people, even if they've got the bread, they're too scared to do it.
Yeah, so it attracts a certain type of people, and I feel like it's a really good way of meeting people and networking.
Yeah.
Like for people that are really motivated, high performers that do well in their life, kind of financially in all aspects. I just think it's great, man. I think everyone should do it. And if you've got some cash to spare and you're thinking about it, just send it, just do it.
You mentioned obviously like you built this whole trip based off of your Instagram following. You've been able to bring people together to do this trip.
Yeah.
When did your whole kind of journey start with socials, and how have you got it to where it is now?
So I've always made videos. So as far back as being a little kid, really, I've always made videos, like just dumb, random videos. Like I used to have this weird obsession with Jackass, and like the first video that I've got
So good.
is me and my friend. Yeah, me and my friend on like a seesaw, and then I'm like 8 years old or 7 years old or something. And I pretend to fall off it. I got ketchup all over my face, and like I'm like screaming. It's fake, obviously. And then I've always made these like dumb videos. And then when I was in Cornwall growing up, I used to make surfing videos, skating videos, like that sort of stuff. And then about 10 years ago now, was when I started my main channel, my channel now. And that was just like going to university. I think it's a bit before university I started it. I just got super sick. So we kind of we've spoken about this a little bit, but I have some issues in my leg. I've got a chronic long-term condition called lymphedema. It's like degenerative. It's meant to progress and like make you crippled if you don't manage it well. Condition that affects my whole leg. And I've had that since I was around 11 years old. And then when I was 17, so just before university, I got super sick, hospitalized. I'm like, at the minute, I'm like 90 kilos. I was down to like 60 kilos or maybe even a little bit less. It's on a YouTube video. So like if anyone wants to fact check my weights, but yeah, man, I got super ill, got hospitalized, needed surgeries for that. Had a couple of surgeries, spent a fair while in hospital, lost like all the progress that I made in the gym. And then I was like, you know what, I want to start documenting it. So I started to do what I knew how to do.
Documenting the come up.
Yeah, just filming me going to the gym really, man. Yeah. There's a few other YouTubers that I watched at the time. There's one called Sean Thompson. He's like a proper like OG. I think he's Gymshark's first athlete.
Sick.
Yeah. And he was like a friend. So I got a girlfriend at university and he was like a friend of hers or like a mutual friend. And I was like, if he can do it, I can. I'm going to make these videos. Can't even remember the reason that I started really. It's probably out of like thinking I can do better than him, like liking videos. And then that propelled everything that I do now. Made some videos that got nowhere to begin with, like the first year or two. Nothing really happened. And then like just crappy kind of fitness videos. Made a transformation video going over documenting the whole journey of like my leg and the hospitalizations and coming back from that. That kind of blew up and exploded, and then that propelled the channel to where it is now really. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
You said that you were really ill, you lost all your progress, and obviously at a very young age as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel like deep down that's probably one of the reasons why you seek these thrills that you seem so excited about all the times? Because you once were in a stage where, okay, like when I'm 11 or when you're 11, you probably do some stuff that you wouldn't do as an adult.
Yeah.
And that kind of got taken away from you?
I think
kind of.
I wouldn't. I've thought about this as well. Like I've thought about this long and hard, and I don't know the exact reason. I probably need a therapist to tell me. Therapy session, but I don't know, man. I'd say it's in that sphere. So I think I try and remind myself that nothing is forever. That everything could, like, we could all die, you know. But then with me, I guess, like my yeah, like I've always had a fear that my mobility can get taken away from me, or my leg's gonna get chopped off, or something's gonna happen and like I'm not gonna be able to walk. So I guess maybe a part of it is psychologically I've felt like I've always had to do these things whilst I still can. It's like a clock that's ticking down, I think, because it used to fuck me up as a kid. When I was like 11 years old, I got diagnosed with a condition after having a swollen leg for I can't remember, I want to say 6 months or something like that. When I was 11, it's probably like 3 days, and I just get the times, exaggerate the times in my head. But yeah, I remember getting diagnosed with it, and I was devastated because I'd look at these images or like find out what it was, and you find out that there's nothing it can do about it. There's no cure. So I guess like maybe in my head, there is that where I'm in that mindset of, oh, how much longer can you do this for? So you got to do everything,
make the most of it.
Yeah, and then I think it's taught me a lot as well, man. Like everything I do is thanks to that, really. Like the decisions that I make, the reason I'm sat here right now, and then maybe that was a seed to me just chasing things, like chasing discomfort, like chasing the things that scare me, and like having that realization that, oh, if I do this stuff, it feels good and I grow as a person, so
it makes you.
Yeah, it makes me. It's just part of the story, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I love
I'm
that,
sure
man.
You boys have stuff as well that's like some shit's happened, and yeah, it shapes who you are, and you wouldn't be sat here right now without that shit thing that's happened.
You can't appreciate 100%. The good times without the bads.
100%.
The good experiences without the bad experiences.
Yeah, 100%.
The good people without the bad people.
Yeah,
that's life.
Yeah, it's that contrast, isn't it? Yeah.
So when did you? Obviously, you built up your following, and I'm guessing you're in the gym.
Yeah.
What you do now to make money is you're an online coach, right?
Multifaceted. So yeah.
Oh, what? Sorry.
It's multifaceted. So I coach people online. That's part of it. I have typical kind of influencery stuff. So brand deals, etc., etc. And then obviously digital products, YouTube. That's the bulk of it, really.
Sick. Where do you see yourself in the next kind of like 2 to 3 years in regards to business?
In regards to business, I want to start a business independent of social media.
that isn't.
no way.
That's independent of social media. Yeah. So I want to start something that doesn't like, sometimes I feel I'll still leverage it the best, like to my ability, but sometimes I want to be like free of the mercy of algorithms, you know, because I can, like, for example, with the I don't want to screw your podcast, but with the stuff where we're stuck outside our house a few years ago, like I spoke about this a few times, and I was just like, fucking, my socials were annihilated by speaking about certain things. So I would like within a few years with business, I would like to start something else that's another avenue that's independent from social media, you know, just because number one, I feel like it cuts ties with that and gives me kind of that freedom away from it, not having to rely on it. And then I also feel like subsequently that allows me to just enjoy it more and make whatever the fuck I want to make, you know, just be more creative with it.
Wait, like what? What do you have in mind? So the independent.
He's gonna drop the whole business.
Nah, I'm kidding. Few bits I want to do. I don't want to say too much about it until I actually action it, you know, but health related stuff. So yeah, I'll speak to you about it after this, but
it makes so much sense. I mean, some of the biggest creators in in the industry right now their sole focus is, of course, to keep getting new eyeballs onto them, but to build something that can outlive them.
100%.
And that their face or name isn't associated to, because not all creators want to be creators their whole life, man. You won't be able to make the same content that you make now when you're 50.
Nah, no way.
And also as well, are you even going to want to make the same content that you make now when you're 50?
Yeah, there we go.
7-year-old Mo jumping out of planes.
Yeah, dude. And then like a few years ago, I used to, like, for example, I used to make festival break-in videos, breaking into festivals.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude. I used to...
That's nuts, bro. I should have done some more due diligence, man. I should have done a bigger, deeper dive,
you boys are like this. So I used to do Tinder videos as well, like on Tinder, before it was like, I see it on Instagram all the time now, kind of before it was a thing. And in one of the festival break-in videos, we used Tinder. This is all on YouTube still. And people used to call these... we didn't fake a single fucking one, bro. But we used Tinder. We drove from Cornwall to Creamfields, or it might have been Reading. Yeah, Reading, so it's Reading Leeds Festival, to Creamfields up in the north. And then whilst we're up there, I used Tinder to find someone en route to let us stop at the house and use their printer. On the way up there, we went on Instagram. So we go on Instagram, look at the hashtags for the festival, find staff, see what the staff wristband looks like, or people that are uploading like the photos of their, you know, you go to a festival, upload a photo of your wrist. And basically my friend Tom, or Mr. X as we called him in the videos, would then go on Photoshop and replicate the bands on Photoshop. So we're driving up doing this. He's on like the laptop, on Tinder, like looking for someone en route, found this girl that was en route who'd actually let us come to a house and use a fucking printer. Then we printed these off onto, you can get fabric paper. So we had this with us anyway. Printed these bands off onto fabric paper, stopped at this girl's house. I think she thought we were going to like take her with her or something, but she wasn't the one for us. So like, used her printer, was like, thanks, have a good day. Went up to Creamfields and got in and had a sick time at Creamfields with these fake bands. So yeah, content, it obviously changes a lot. So going back to the original question, man, I think it's really important, as you boys will know, to have a personal brand, because it makes launching anything so much fucking easier. Like, it's like steroids for business, isn't it? Having a strong personal brand. But then equally, I think being able to step away from not relying on that solely is like the ultimate goal for me anyway.
I think having the personal brand is like instant credibility.
Yeah.
In whatever field you go into, you have X amount of people that follow you for a reason. Yeah. So if you're going to associate or tie yourself into a brand or create something, you already have however many people that trust you, like you. Yeah. So are going to be significantly more inclined to go and purchase and support and do whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's something that we need to put some more time and effort into on a personal level.
You reckon?
Yeah. Because obviously we've got the podcast and the clips go out.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as churning stuff out on your own personal account, is it?
I guess it's then just creating you can do it as easy as creating a pretty Instagram, you know? Like creating a pretty Instagram, put some edgy, cool photos up, and like I think you can go all in on it and use it to tell a story and really.
I don't think that's like the influencer route, like posting pretty photos. That's not really me, man.
But I mean, like, surely you like, for example, your WhatsApp picture, you're on a jet.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool Instagram post. couple of swipe alongs, you know, like
I already posted it.
yeah, there we go, exactly. So you,
I posted a photo. In the
yeah, of course,
chat as
of course
well.
it did. Yeah. So you're already doing it effectively. Like,
Yeah.
I guess it's just
On a consistent basis, though, because obviously, like realistically, you can have all the algorithm hacks in the world or whatever it is, whatever information that you've gathered. The main part of growing on social media is just posting consistently.
Yeah.
Even if that is like 3 times a week, isn't it?
But the podcast, for example, that's exactly that. Like, what more could you do, really? You know,
Well,
I think it's perfect.
We're filming a lot of podcasts, like a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
But it's hard for us because it's like we are juggling so many things, and it's like your own content kind of gets put on the back burner.
But the podcast is your own content.
It is to an extent, but nobody's clicking on this podcast to listen to me. They're clicking on the podcast to listen to you.
Yeah, but then they find you through the other people, so that's why I think it's good. And then if you guys are yourselves and like someone likes what they hear, I think that's a good thing because
for sure.
you know, and I reckon it's a good. I think the cost to reward ratio of podcast is like sick, like really, really good.
Yeah.
As I was saying to you guys before we started filming, like when I used to do a podcast like a good few years ago, like I kind of regret stopping doing that thing. I don't know if I regret it or not, but I feel like before this podcast, we're having some like weird as fuck conversation, just sat around a table, weren't we? So we'd have a conversation together anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can have a conversation here and then you can gain from it, like we can both gain from it and people can listen to it and gain from it. I feel like it's a win-win for everything.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's sick.
The way that the kind of content industry is going, like I feel like the podcasts, especially during like leading up to the election in the US, it really kind of, there was some light put on it on how powerful it can actually be.
Yeah.
And the influence that it can have.
Well, like Joe Rogan.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Mad, isn't it?
bro, like I genuinely think, like, away from politics, because that's not really me.
Yeah.
I genuinely think one of the biggest reasons that Trump won the election was because he wasn't scared to go on to this podcast, that podcast, with very different hosts.
Yeah.
And everything they threw at him, he was like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, like,
do you know what I'm saying, though? Because it's like the long form, you can really kind of see somebody. What's their body language like? How did they say
100%,
things?
bro.
Are they lying? Are they not lying?
Yeah.
Like, it really gives you an insight into the person. And you can't get that on YouTube Shorts or on TikTok. Or
you can
on
you can
Instagram
tell if
Reels.
someone's full of shit.
Yeah.
Like you can tell if someone's full of shit. And yeah, the Trump thing, for example, like I'm not political, but I listened to the Trump one. I was like, yeah, he sounds alright.
Yeah.
Like everything that I fucking heard about him that was awful. Like,
Yeah.
I like him. He seems pretty sound, you know. Like,
Yeah.
and then I think it's really clever that because obviously he got absolutely. I'm not the best political, but obviously he got absolutely slandered in the media. Like I spoke to my friend today about this. I was like, isn't it crazy how so many people just hate someone based on what they've heard on the news, for example? Like my mum fucking hates Donald Trump. My like all of
Her
it.
only source of information is BBC.
She's not American. She doesn't vote in America. I don't have an opinion on it yet because of the information that she's given. And then, like, I'm sure I probably would come to that conclusion if I didn't listen to podcasts and stuff. But then I listened to him and Joe Rogan. I'm like, yeah, he seems alright. Like, I'd have a chat with him down the pub. Like, he seems like a real dude. Like,
Yeah.
fair play to him. So.
Is that not scary, though, to you?
What is not?
That the guys in the world that have so much influence over the information that we receive
Yeah, it's
are
terrifying.
filtering so much and only showing us what they want to show us.
I feel like I became like a tinfoil hat wearer after that like 2021 like lockdown periods, you know, like legit, because I was always the opposite. So I used to be like a little shitbag on the internet, you know, and just like swear at people on Xbox and just be like a general troll. And I always used to think that it was the stupidest, like anyone that like, I always like, of course the government had your best interests. Of course.
Why wouldn't they?
Of course there isn't any kind of conspiracy, like conspiracies aren't a thing. It's just stupid people like in their mum's basement. Like I literally used to think that. Yeah. And then after the 2021 stuff, and I was like, where I'd see it myself and I'd be like, so before, like, I'd be like, holy shit. Like maybe when there's
scary
things at play here that we
So
don't know about.
Did you guys not see on Rogan, like literally when Zuckerberg came on a few weeks ago, I don't know when it was, Joe Rogan asked him the question about like not allowing COVID stuff being spoken about.
I saw this.
I actually saw a
and
clip.
He said the Biden administration told him that like not to allow it.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that. Yeah.
It literally said like they told us to take down so much stuff. And
insane,
it's nuts, bro. But I think that puts us not so much in a position of power, because I wouldn't say that we have as much influence or leverage as obviously those guys with our 2,000 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already.
2001 now after this.
Come on. I've lost my train of thought now.
I feel
Back to 2000 because someone's got pissed off.
No, I feel like what you're trying to get at is that like we can basically say whatever we want, and because it can't be tracked on like a large scale,
Yeah,
get
like
away
I
with
feel
it.
like we're in a position of power as a so-called micro influencer with a platform where hundreds of people every single week, we have data to see, listen to us speak, and we can genuinely just put out the information that we've learned or we've been told or we believe, and no one can really say shit.
What conspiracy should we start with?
That's, yeah, 100%.
I feel like we also have a responsibility to try and give. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I felt the same during all the COVID stuff, like with my social media, and like I said, I can't remember if I said it on like just then or earlier, but yeah, it like fucked me, like because I'd get flagged and like reach would be absolutely crushed, like just stuff that didn't make any sense whatsoever, you know, and I'd like speak about that, and the
thing is as well, if your whole financial situation is dependent on your algorithm not being crushed, they know that. They are fully aware of that. If he's not getting paid, he's probably going to shut up at some point.
But
you know,
going back to it, I feel like it's a good thing for the world, though. Like you said, how it's scary. I feel like that period, like it was probably a tiny minority of people were like, not trusting of the government and conspiracies, other things. Like,
very small.
But now I feel like it's the fucking majority of people. Like the government the government, they took out like South Park episode. But no, I feel like the powers that be, you know, they had this fucking, no, legit, like obviously there's not one guy there like, ha ha ha. But I feel like there was like a monopoly on like media and people just, like myself, just believing everything blindly. But I feel like now, due to that, the COVID stuff in particular, people have like woken the fuck up, man. It's like, now, have you seen, I always get on my algorithm stuff on this new like flu variant. Have you seen this?
No.
I
still get texts from the NHS asking me to go in for a COVID jab.
What, you haven't had yours yet?
No, genuinely, I still to this day, like, is that still, are people still saying, oh yeah, I'll do that then?
But this is the thing that gives me hope, you know. So there's like, now all the media is pressing on my Facebook algorithm anyway. It's got stuff's getting like 40,000 likes and stuff, like this new super killer flu from China outbreak, and it's showing pictures of people dying and all this stuff. Whether I'm prefacing this and this is going to be the next massive pandemic, we're all going to be locked inside for the next 5 years.
You go through Facebook like, that won't fool me this time.
Bro, literally, these posts, right, have like 99% laughing reactions, and people are like, I'm not like 40,000 reactions, and some of it it's like, I'm not falling for this shit again. Like people like pissing themselves, like, yeah, good luck with this, like good one. And then before the COVID stuff, everyone was like in their house, like banging pots and pans together for the NHS, you know. So
I feel like people. on a serious note, though, I feel like a lot of people aren't capable of having their own opinions.
Yeah,
they're easily influenced from outside noise, and then they'll take an opinion from over here and just be like, oh yeah, I believe this, without actually putting some thought behind it.
Yeah.
I want to pull back slightly what you just said about
pots and pans.
No. It's like the laughing reactions.
Yeah.
We can also think about the story here, the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf. Let's say, touch wood, that in the next year, the next COVID that is actually COVID comes around, but because of that time and the basically the agenda that we know that was kind of pushed upon us, people don't really buy into it. And I'm not staying in my house, I'm not doing this is bullshit, and then we actually wipe out our whole population.
The thing is though with that is,
do you know what I'm saying? But because the
thing is though, even like going back to COVID, like I'd walk in the house and I'd be like, Mom, Dad, what are you doing watching the news? Like, you said, like, why are you doing that to yourselves? Like, it's bullshit,
scary,
yeah. But because something like that has never happened in the world, like I'm not saying that I was someone that ever feared COVID like massively. I was like, it's just a fucking flu or whatever. I know that's me being honest though. Like, I know that there was like trauma towards some people, and like I completely understand that.
I mean, people fucking die all the time. Shit happens, you know.
Of course, and like obviously, like there's the stories of like them masking deaths that were like, I don't know, a heart attack, but they'd say that it was COVID.
Yeah,
like there was all of those stories. But the thing going back to that time was because that had never happened in the world before. Whether it was planned or not or whatever, like if it was true, the government wouldn't have known what to do anyways. Like a pandemic had never happened in our generation. So the right thing to do would have been to make everybody stay at home. Yeah. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
No, I absolutely think I agree with you on that. I think,
and I'm not saying that I'm here for like, lock us down. Like I want this. I want to stay at home.
Didn't realize this is the sort of podcast is coming on, bro.
I didn't either. But
sponsored by Pfizer.
Dickhead. Do you what he said? Sponsored by Pfizer.
No, but when you look at it though, from if it was from their perspective, the higher ups, you could understand why everybody went and did
I agree. I don't think that's a conspiracy. Like I do agree. I completely agree. And I think like initially, obviously, it was just going on the information that they had, and like governments doing what governments do. But then just like the crazy stuff, man. How it's just dragged out and out and out. And then like when there's money at stake, like the PPE deals with Matt Hancock, like giving a multi-million-pound PPE deal to his like 90-year-old neighbor who's never had anything to do with the pharmaceutical industry. It's obvious corruption. Then it's like, okay, like
it's the things that come with it, which then like make us have to think like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Have you guys ever heard of Alex Jones or not?
Yes.
I was gonna bring up him because he's like the complete.
I see memes of him all the time.
Wait, can you fit me in? I don't know.
He's just like the biggest conspiracy. I'm pretty sure that he's still banned on Twitter. He's like the only person that's banned from Twitter.
Any conspiracy, he's like behind it.
If you go listen to one of his podcasts with Joe Rogan,
so is he a flat earther then?
I actually don't know.
Probably, it wouldn't surprise me.
But he talks about on Joe Rogan how like he'd sneak into, is it not quite like you sneaking into festivals, but he'd sneak into like the higher up and the Papa Masters parties that they'd be having, and there'll be like big statues of babies and like they'd be burning them
satanic stuff. Yeah,
like insane, bro.
You would have seen memes of him, like 100%.
He shouts a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, you've seen memes.
I kind of want to pull him up. I mean, just give me a second.
Yeah, get it. Go on, get it up.
What's his name? Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Yeah.
Is he still banned from Twitter?
I don't know. I feel like he's banned from everything.
Wait, so this dude.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's just laughing at him. He's laughing at him.
I feel like it's a spectrum. You got like the triple vaccine people, then Alex Jones, and I probably sit somewhere in the middle.
It's nice to be in the middle though.
Yeah.
Because when you sit completely in the middle, that's when you can be open-minded to like, okay, like I understand that bit of information. I understand this. Like I'll make up my own mind rather than just listening to this and avoiding everything from over here.
Yeah, man. I think as well, like you said earlier about how people are just sheep, but I think we're all just sheep to an extent. Like we're always going to gravitate towards the average. I can guarantee that like all of us, if we were in a situation during so for example, like on the lockdowns, the first week I was terrified. I was like, I'd come home and like wash my hands with antibacterial stuff and be like, oh no. And then after week 5 or 6, I was like, fuck that! Like I just go out all the time. I actually flew to Portugal on on very real documents that I definitely weren't photoshopped. Like I was meant to be out there on official business. Yeah. When it was like they said you'd go to prison and get a £10,000 fine for leaving the country, and literally just got all these super official documents, left for Portugal, and I'm sure if our friend, like everyone in my circle, was like, no, this is like a really serious thing, I probably wouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like because there's like, what I'm trying to say is I think you have to surround yourself with people that you fuck with, and that people that are going to kind of pull you in a right direction, like rather than being in with the masses. If there's like this microcosm of somewhere you want to go, or people that are doing better than you, like surround yourself with those people, then it's going to you're going to go up with them effectively. Bro.
And maybe not to the extreme of like leaving the country illegally, but like legally. Yeah. But when we went into COVID, I distinctively remember it, and I have to give props to H. He put a message into the group chat and said, right guys, listen, we're being locked inside of our homes and there's nothing we can fucking do about it. Are we going to sit around, drink loads of beer, smoke loads of weed, do nothing, or are we going to try and do something and come out the other end better?
Imagine I got messages of like the boys in the group chat were laughing at me saying that. Like they were taking, not like laughing, but they'd send like a video of them with a beer or like smoking a joint or something. I was like, oh, great. I was like, I'm glad that had a positive influence on your life.
But having that, and then for me anyway, was like, yeah, you know what? He's right.
It's a choice, you know. Yeah. Again,
you know what? He's right. And maybe we didn't come out of COVID millionaires, but I think we came out of COVID very different people.
100%.
And I don't think we would be where we are now if it wasn't for that and the amount of time we had to think about ourselves, what we want to do, how we want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it was a very kind of pivotal part in, I think, a lot of our generation specifically.
Yeah.
Like, their lives.
But
and it was down to that choice.
You're probably the catalyst for that, you know, or a part of the catalyst for that, so...
Oh, you ordered a whole fucking gym.
we were sat around at my friend's house, and like when like lockdown was going to be a thing, I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I have to train. I was sat there, I spent like $1,000. I was like ordering bare equipment. I was like, I have to order this. I built a whole gym. I made sure that I could train.
Yeah, that's
sorry,
no, go on.
What I was going to say is like, yes, you can say that COVID was the catalyst, but like when you dive deeper and you look at it under a microscope, like what really was the catalyst for like us having a podcast? Because that's where we can relate. It's not like we've got a £1 million business yet. Where can we relate, and like what was the catalyst? And we can say COVID, but then we zoom in and we look at it deeper, and it was just taking the first step. And it's something that people need to think less about and just take the first step, whether it's posting that video, starting the business, whatever it could be, either end of the spectrum. But the reason that we started a podcast and we have a business now is because I made a fucking gym account in lockdown, and I was like, I'm going to start making gym videos. And then from there it led to YouTube, and I taught myself to edit, to then videography, to then like a bunch of other stuff, which then has led us here. Yeah. And it's like the catalyst for where we are now was just a gym page on Instagram.
Oh, you just got to send it, man. Literally, yeah.
You just have to start.
Something that I try and remind myself, especially because I'll still catch myself not doing things because of like for example, starting a gym page, like fear of judgment, fear of like people are going to take the piss out of you, like, oh, what's this guy doing starting a gym page? And yeah, I feel like too many people, or it's so easy for us just to delude ourselves and be like, oh, this thing isn't going to work, I'm not going to start it, it's stupid, or listen to people telling you that because you're scared of failing and looking like a fucking idiot. But then most of the time, you're probably not going to fail. It's going to lead to something else. And I feel like if you do nothing is going to happen. You're going to be in the same place. If you do send it, the thing might not work, but ultimately it's going to lead on to other things. So yeah, for example, in 2025, I was like, I listened to this. I saw this from another podcast, actually. It was on Chris Williamson. And he had someone on. It was like, it really stuck with me. He was like, he tries to fail at 3 things a year, his guest. And he was like, yeah, like I try and do 3 big things every single year that I fail at. So obviously he doesn't deliberately set out to fail, but he aims to have 3 failures per year. So it's like he's tried something that he doesn't think is going to work, and then most of the time it fucking works. And then at the end of the year, he was on like 2 failures. I was like, that's such a good idea, man.
I like that perspective.
That's such a good idea, yeah.
This is a quote that I wrote down. When I have thoughts, I write them down in my notes on my phone. And it is something that I thought of. If someone else said it on a podcast, I apologize, but I'm taking it as my own quote.
Oh, you take it.
I just thought of it.
Run with it, bro.
I thought of it once.
That's all you, champ.
It's yours.
It's basically along the lines of not letting other people's opinions make your decisions.
Yeah.
And it's something where I think society as a whole, I don't even think that this is a minority. I think the majority of people let other people's opinions make their decisions in life, as for everything. Yeah. How they want to dress, how they want to eat, the next fun thing to do, whatever it is. Like they let other people's opinions dictate their life.
The UK is fucking toxic for it as well. Like, I feel like the UK as a society, we've got that tall poppy syndrome where if anyone's trying to do something better, unless you've got a really good circle, like the majority of people are going to try and chop you down. They'll be like, nah, that won't work. Like we're such a pessimistic society. So I feel like it's especially important just to like fuck the naysayers effectively. Yeah. So
I think that's something we're truly blessed by, you know. I feel like we've kind of got rid of all of the bullshit along the way, and we only really surround ourselves now with people that are just so happy for us, the same way that we would be so happy for them.
You build that circle, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if you don't kind of set the standard for yourself, Well, Alex DeMiro said it is like your vibe attracts your tribe.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And the type of energy that you put out, the type of person that you are, is going to attract other people like that.
You've got to start somewhere. That's the thing. It's like, I remember when I started my social media fitness account, I was I can't remember, I was 17, so I can't remember if I was in sixth form or like what was happening. But I vividly remember just getting the piss like ripped out of me, like people at school like showing like my profile around school, like laughing at me, like being like literally like fucking bullying me about it. And I like pretended like it didn't bother me, but obviously it did bother me. But I was like, like this is gonna lead to something. Like I had that kind of delusional belief in myself, and I feel like you've just got to fucking send it to get out of that, to create that circle for yourself, or just to put yourself out there to get into that circle for yourself. And yeah, what was that? You said something that reminded me. I thought of this as well. I'm taking this quote, okay? It's definitely not from
Run with it, champ.
Oh, yeah. It was like, it reminded me of something that I've always thought of. I think this is the reason that I've done pretty well on social media, or being able to do the life, or have the life that I have, which I'm very lucky for. But this is something that's always stuck by me. I don't know where it's come from. Like that's probably, like, I've thought of this since like 17, 18 years old, but I've always thought that if you want a life that other people do not have, then you have to be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Like put yourself out there to get bullied, to get, what's the word, where someone doesn't say nice things about you.
Get the mick taken out of you.
Mick taken out of you. Yeah.
I don't think that's the word they were trying to find.
I want to say more sophisticated, but that'll cut, you know.
The thing is, this is so terrible that my head has gone completely blank now, and I can't find the word that you're looking for.
Yeah. Is it like judicated or something? Is that a word?
Judicated.
It sounds something like that, doesn't it?
So you're outside my vocabulary.
Oh, fucking hell.
Someone giving you shit, man.
Someone posted the comments. Do you think it's on YouTube? Is this going to go on YouTube as well?
Yeah.
Sick. Someone can comment on it. I'll remember at the end. In 10 minutes, mid-conversation, I'll remember what it is, and I'll be like, yes, that's it.
Say no more. Well, you know when, like, so at school, you're trying to start something new. You can see people taking the piss, and, like, obviously, you came out the other end and you came out laughing. But at that time, what was it that you kind of did? Or were you not really thinking much? Was it just a case of like, fuck everyone, I'm going to carry on? Or did you use it as fire? I'll show you? Or like, what was your mind frame in that time when you are getting the shit taking the piss out of you?
It's a delusional belief in yourself, almost like a narcissistic fucking delusional belief that you can do something. I think that's so important. I think that's what so many entrepreneurs and people that smash it have.
Yeah.
And it's like, as you get older and experience more life, it's very easy to lose that, I think.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have that belief in yourself, it's very easy to never get that. But I think you've got to have that element of like literal delusion. Like you tell someone something, people are gonna laugh at you, but you're so convinced that you're gonna be able to do it, or it's gonna happen, you don't give a fuck, and then you'll make it work. You know, I think that's what it is. I'm like, I don't care. Like I believe myself enough for this to happen. It's gonna work. Like I don't fucking give a shit. Do
you think as a kid that you always felt as if like deep inside that you were destined for more, or you were better? Or
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think it's like, again, like part of me feels bad about it because it stems around like narcissism. Like, oh, I'm so like, I'm so good. I don't think
it is though.
I think you're right. I don't think it's a bad thing.
If you don't believe in you, if you don't love you, then who the fuck else will?
I'm with you on that, man. 100% agree.
You have to be your biggest supporter, man.
But I think I used to feel bad about having that feeling. You know, like I'm not made for. Like I used to do a lot of shit jobs when I was younger, like pot washing, in a restaurant. Like
that shit will humble you.
The rarest things. Yeah, bro. I was like, I'm not made for fucking this. It isn't gonna be my life. I'm made to be more. And even now, like I still have that. Like I'm extremely grateful for my life, and it's absolutely sick. But even now, I still have like, I'm just getting fucking started. Like this isn't it. You know, this isn't it. So yeah. I think,
how old are you?
28.
28. Oh, you strike me as being younger. I don't know why.
And I'm a bit chubby as well. So when you lose a few pounds, I'll look younger as well. So happy days. How are you boys?
23.
23.
Oh, sick.
Did you think we were 23?
I don't know. Kind of when you become an old person like me, everyone below you just blends into one. Like I see a 14-year-old, like, yeah, it's probably like 20. Nah, I'm kidding.
That could have gone very wrong then.
Yeah, that could have gone really in a wrong way. But no. Yeah, I never said that. I would have said like mid-20s.
Hey?
I would have said mid-20s. Yeah. It's hard to tell though because your hairlines are so immaculate. Like that's the first thing I know. I was like, Jesus Christ, like can't tell if you're freaking 19 or 29.
It's just our Greek genetics, man.
Oh, it's elite. The hair genetics from
we're hairy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, H had a fucking beard when he was 14.
Really?
Not literally 14. I was like 16 and a half, I'd say, and I was like, let me see if I can grow it. Like it was quite patchy still, but like
my boy had a beard.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got these weak white person genetics, British person. I've already had a hair transplant. So there you go. Yeah, bro. Hairline was clapped.
Where did you go?
Turkey.
Can I see it? Or like, no, let it down.
Here's my hair.
Oh, so you can see it. You can see like at the front.
Is it painful?
To get. So the actual
No, it's painful.
the actual let me saw my barn out. I've been so tempted just to shave my hair off. Like look at that, it needs cutting. But no, so the actual
I'm joking, by the way. I didn't want that to be like disrespectful.
What?
No, you said was it painful? No, I asked was it painful. You said what? And I said to pay for. Like what else would I be asking?
Oh, I'm zoning out here, but so the actual procedure itself is alright. It's just more uncomfortable. The fucking anesthetic they give you, bro, that is bad. That's like 9 out of 10, I'd say.
But like them putting the needle in?
Yeah. So what they do is before you get it done, they anaesthetize your head. But the way that they anaesthetize your head, again,
doesn't it like swell up all your eyes and like make
yeah,
it go like
they basically get like 10, 20 different injections, needles with, I think it's like lidocaine, something that numbs your scalp, and they've got to numb every part of your scalp, and they don't just do like a thin, like little thin injection to your skull. They're like working the needle like this in your head, and that's bad around the temples. But I had it, so I technically had it twice. On the first day, I had it done, and they gave me fentanyl before, like as like a bit of an anesthetic, so it numbs the pain. The clinic had an anaesthetist. They gave me fentanyl, so I was pretty like high. I felt pretty good. I was like, oh, this is chill. I was like sat there like watching my phone. It still hurt, like getting that done. I don't know, like a 6 out of 10 pain. And then after it was done, I was like, I don't like the hairline. Like I want it to be a little bit lower. And spoke to the guy that owns the clinic. He's like a really cool guy. Sam, is it Sam Sinclair? His name is Sam is a really cool guy anyway. But chatted to him, and he was like, Mo, if you're not completely happy with it, go back the next day. Like I'll sort it out. I'll speak to the doctors and just get it changed how you want it. So I went back the next day, and because I'd already had the fentanyl the previous day, they couldn't give me any anesthetic. So this is the difference between like cheap clinics and more expensive clinics as well. The cheap clinics will just do it without the anesthetic anyway, so we'll just put the needles in your head. A lot of people would have had that, but the more premium ones have an anaesthetist. And I think the reason they couldn't give me any of the fentanyl again was because as well it was a shorter procedure, so they're like, you'd have to legally stay here for like 4 hours or whatever. I was like, fuck it, just do it without it. That time, bro, like after I'd already had it done once, the second day it was like 9 out of 10, excruciating.
But why would they do the whole head again? Would they not just do the extra parts that you wanted?
So they take the grafts out the back.
Take out little bits
yeah,
of skin,
so I use almost. Yeah, so it's almost like a little a mini, like an Apple Core device. It's like a little drip.
The only reason I know is 'cause I was scrolling on TikTok the other day and I saw like an animation of like how it works.
There we go.
What?
Yeah,
it's insane, bro. When you see it like visually, it's like literally how you described it, like the Apple cork thing that removes it, like tiny ones of those just going into.
You can like it's like it's horrible.
What, in the back of your head?
Yeah, yeah, dude. You're never gonna have to experience this, YouTube. That for the people with poor hairlines, like.
I don't fucking jinx us, lad. Fuck me. I hope we don't.
I think you're sound.
I don't think that I would get to a stage in my life where like even if like I had a mad receding hairline or something, I don't think that I would like go and get a hair transplant. That's not me like being like, oh, you shouldn't have got one.
I don't know. It's easy to say that when you got a good hairline.
It is easy to say, I guess.
I feel like
I just shave it.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like that as well. Well, it didn't. I got a hair transplant, but I feel like so much of your identity is tied to your hair.
I would agree with that.
But after I got it shaved when I got it done, so I've been bald for a good while, like 6 months, and it's not that bad at all. So after it's funny because I've had it now, but after being bald for 6 months, like I'm pretty chill about being bald now. If it was to fail on it, I'd obviously try and get another one and do all I can to get good hair, but it wouldn't be the end of the fucking world if I was a bald man, you know. So it is what it is.
You say that you wouldn't get to that stage, or you would. I'm gonna throw in just a bit of a spanner. We get our haircuts every single week.
Just make my life easier. I went bald. Genuinely.
Yeah, but we get our haircuts every single week.
Yeah, I know.
Because you want your hair to look a type of way. You want your beard to look a type of way.
Yeah, I understand that because
because
I want to look clean. I'd still go to the barbers and get my beard done.
But
genuinely though, like, I listen. Put me in the shoes of like somebody that had.
I reckon you should just shave it.
I did before during like I shaved my hair during lockdown because I was like, this is like long. I can't get hair. Let me just shave it. But I don't. If I've never been in the position where I've been like, oh shit, I need to. My hair's thin, or my hairline's bad, or I'm going bald at the back to be like, oh, I need to get a hair transplant.
Yeah.
But I feel like the person that I am now, I wouldn't care enough to go and get one.
I feel like this is a good mindset to be in, but then equally playing devil's advocate, I'm all for accepting yourself to an extent, but I also feel like if you can improve yourself, you should. And I'm not saying that, for example, like I said, I've got many people I know that are bald. I'd shave my hair if it came to it. But equally, at the end of the day, the majority of people prefer hair. It's like there's a reason for that because it indicates health. Like there's a reason we find certain things attractive, like facial symmetry, like bone structure. So it's like you will score lower on attractiveness without hair. It's not saying it's the end of the world. It's like I will score lower on attractiveness because I have a gammy leg. It is what it is. But if there's other things that I can do, if it's something I can do to improve other areas, like why wouldn't I improve it? You know,
Nah,
like getting a weekly haircut, for example. Like,
I hear you both. 100%.
I think you would rock it being bold.
I was trying to work that. I was trying to imagine you as we're sat here. Like, it would either look great or terrible.
I used to be like shaven just because it got to a point where I was like, I just couldn't be bothered to do my hair anymore.
Yeah.
So I just shaved my head.
It's so handy though.
It was like a 3 on top, and I'd get a fade still.
Yeah.
But like, life was convenient, man. Didn't have to wake up and worry about how my hair looked.
Yeah.
I feel like your hair makes you look like a European prince.
Thank you.
But when you're shaved, you look very like Middle Eastern and Asian. No,
really?
No, like genuinely, I feel like it gives like your face a certain kind of look and a vibe at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you still be only attractive.
Come on.
There you go. Nah, I think the only thing that looks worse than someone with a clapped out hairline. Also, no, the only thing that looks worse as someone who's bald is
someone with a clapped hairline
who's trying to keep it. So I think if you're a guy and you're going through it, take some medication, try and do all you can to fix it. If not, just fucking shave it off, grow a beard, get jacked, get some tattoos. You know,
there you
I
go.
don't have the tats, but I'm pretty jacked and I've got a beard, so being bald wouldn't
I think you're pretty sound, to be honest. Definitely donate me a few follicles if I need them.
The reason
the fact that we're talking about H shaving his head right now is brilliant. By the way,
ruined the direction of this podcast.
Like, Gooms pod exclusive. No, on a real though, like the reason that I actually feel like I've now got that perspective, there was like a bit of a life-changing moment in my life where like things really got put into perspective for me, and like the clothes and like how I look and these materialistic items. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'd like a nice watch, I'd like a nice car, but like, having a fucking t-shirt that says Gucci on the front, like, isn't really cool.
100%.
I don't really find that cool.
Yeah.
I used to, but like that also came along with a lot of other things, and like me being so worried about what other people think about how I look isn't that important to me. Like, I'd rather somebody leave a conversation with me and not be like, oh, H looks sick, but be like, oh, okay, like H is a nice person, like he can think, he's got his own opinions, like he's humble. Like that's so much more important to me going into a conversation than like I've shaved my head from having a receding hairline.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying or not?
No, I'm with you on that because I'm all for.
It comes from a place of inner confidence, I think, like being so secure within yourself.
It's the best way to put it, and it's something that I never used to have. Like when I was younger, it was like my confidence came from me having these nice things.
I think a lot of people probably. I make a lot of content on hair loss as well. So on
what? Sorry,
hair loss.
Hair loss. Oh,
yeah,
right.
yes. So, for example, like things you can take, what you can actually do, like science-backed. I do a lot of content on it, and I think, although I say, for example, yeah, like obviously, the fact is, like whether you're emotionally affected by it or not, like the majority of people are probably going to find you more attractive with hair.
Yeah,
like, it is what it is, but it doesn't mean that you're not attractive because you have no hair. So I'm like, although people wouldn't think it, I'm all for a guy shaving their fucking head. I think it's a great thing to do, like due to that, you know. It's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, our boy Tate gets hella bitches and he's bald.
There we go.
And he looked, do you know what? He looked terrible with hair.
He did.
When he grew it, when he was like patchy everywhere. That's no offense to Tate.
I swear I watched like where he said that he has a full head of hair, but he just decides to shave it. Nah, there ain't no way, bros. Ain't no way.
No one believed him though.
Nah.
But the thing, he actually does.
No,
it's not a full head of hair.
Bro, it's clapped out, bro.
Call that a full head
clapped
of hair.
out.
Okay.
I'll tell you, his brother's got a
like
nice
Tristan.
head of hair.
Tristan, yeah, that's sick.
That's a James Bond trim, that.
Yeah, but I think like it is. You just play the hand you dealt, don't you? It is what it is, you know. Who gives a shit? Shave it off, keep it, but then just make yourself do everything you can. But yeah, going back to it, man, I agree with you on the the experiences over materialistic things 100%. Like always, those experiences are things that are going to stick with you and give you that like actual fulfillment over buying a Gucci shirt or like a nice bag, you know.
I feel like that the mindset shift to then like, I don't care what people like. I don't care about the Gucci shirt or whatever it is. Like, I don't care about the materialistic thing that makes someone think something good of me. Then led me to a place where I started to find myself and then become comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
Which like a lot of people say it, but I don't think that people truly realize what it is. Like I've never done, what's it called when you do mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Yeah, but mushrooms, but like there's a name for like when you do like acid and mushrooms.
Trip.
No, the actual.
Oh my God.
What do you mean a name?
Oh, like the name, like the category of
Psilocybin.
drugs that would go into
Psychedelics.
Psychedelics.
Yes.
There you go.
Like there's this like awakening that people have when they do psychedelics, right? And they're like instantly like humbled, and they finally found themselves and things like that. And when I do speak to people about it, like I'm potentially open to the idea one day. Like don't really know, but like inside that spiritual awakening that people speak about, I relate to, and I feel like I've had it.
Wait until you try mushrooms, bro. fuck me.
No, but not like the actual experience of doing mushrooms.
I could hear him sniggering. I was thinking, what's coming now?
No.
Not like the experience of actually doing mushrooms as a whole, but like the after, like when you like look at yourself and you realize that you're nothing. And
I get you.
I understand that, like on the grand scheme of things, like I'm nobody.
Speck of
Like
dust,
even if everybody in the world knew me, like I died tomorrow, they probably will forget about me a week later. Like,
But I guess that's something that comes with if you're growing in the right direction as with time. You know, that's something that I'd say it is probably very similar, like you said, to that feeling of like a monstrous psychedelic trip where you like leave.
I don't mean the trip though. I mean like
the after effects.
After
but
people change.
It's the same from you can get the same results from meditation. I think I've read somewhere that it takes about 10,000 hours of meditation before you're an experienced meditator, but you can get similar effects from a single psychedelic trip or a big trip as you can from 10,000 hours of meditation.
You made me think you made me think something though. So like I said, I've run to you before, but like I never said to the extent. Like I've run a couple marathons and stuff like I run 3 times a week now. Like, I run a fair amount and I don't listen to music or anything like that.
It's meditation.
Chill out, yeah, and I view that as genuine
100%.
meditation. Like I chill out, and I'd say that there's probably been, I don't know the amount of hours. Like
It's probably been
ran
close
like
to 10,000 hours.
the past
bro.
3 years.
Actually.
The past 3 4
It's a lot of
It's a
hours.
lot of hours. I was
No,
telling you.
the past 4 years though, I probably run like 5,000 kilometers.
Yeah, and 100%.
So like, it's probably getting close.
Yeah, dude.
And like I feel like I started to have that realization, like from running as well. Like that is my peacetime, where I think and I realize like I'm looking around at the sky at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Actually, the other morning I was looking at the sky and I was like, wow. I was like, what is out there? Like we are so small.
Yeah, and that's the same with something like mushrooms. You know, that same feeling afterwards. I think it is meditation what you do then, bro, because it's like if you're not listening to music, you're detaching from yourself. You're kind of separating yourself and your consciousness, however you want to say it. So yeah, 100%. Like
you go into autopilot, don't you?
I forget about what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm
just keep going, and you just keep going, and you just.
Part of the reason why I wasn't as big a fan of cycling on my own, because you actually have to concentrate, and I can't do that meditation that I enjoy so much from running.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not really the same cycling as
Oh no, you have to concentrate when there's cars on the road, man. And like you're going like. Sometimes you cycle when you're going downhill, go like 50 miles an hour, and I'm like, you have to, otherwise you're coming off and something bad's happening.
Have you experienced psychedelics?
Yeah.
Do you want to speak about it?
Yeah,
I'd love to.
Yeah.
What psychedelics have you tapped into?
I've done mushrooms a few times. It's something I want to do every year, but I mean to do it. I feel like maybe my, like, you know, the self and all this, I feel like maybe myself is stopping me from doing it because it destroys your version of it. But I need to do it basically. Again, like I want to do it because the effects, I feel like they wear off. But about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it was lockdown actually, and I was living with my friends Tom and Alex, and we're just at home, and we're in the kitchen, and we had some magic mushrooms, and it was like 10, 11 a.m. like it's in the morning, and I was like, oh, you wouldn't eat those? And he was like, yeah I would. So he like ate one, and I was like, you wouldn't eat this? And it took like a fucking handful of him, and so he ate like a handful, and he's like, yeah, I would. And then I think about maybe 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I don't know, later, he comes to me and he's like, I can't remember if it's after he started feeling it or if he had done it and he was like, Mo, I regret doing this. You have to do it with me. I think it might have been that one. I don't think he had felt anything. So I was like, fuck it. Like, I have no idea how many to take. I'm just going to take a handful of these magic mushrooms. And it turned out we took a lot of magic mushrooms, bro, and spent the next probably, what time is it? So it was dark by the time the trip finished, like pitch black. Spent the next duration just sat on the sofa, like staring at a wall, but I was in another planet. So I was like going through portals, reliving old memories, crying, like, bro, it was mental. But yeah.
Did you feel like you got any positive effects after?
After that, dude, that was probably one of the most profound, I'd say one of the most profound mindset shifts of my life that I've ever had. So since then, I've had like a month off it, but since then, however long ago it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago, probably like 3 or 4 years ago now, I think. 4 years ago.
Lockdown, yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I've meditated every single day since then, bar like a small gap that I've had here and there off the back of that. But I remember the next day, bro, it is weird. It's almost like everything was great. Like nothing, it's hard to articulate it, but like all my problems were just minute. The problems weren't problems. Mm-hmm. I remember like a girl that I'd been my ex-girlfriend at the time. I was like going through my fuckboy stage, you know, like how it is. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, absolutely lovely. Like I was a bit of a dick. But long story short, right? Small town I'm from, there's very limited attractive girls in the town that I'm from. Everyone knows each other. I had recently came out of a relationship, and then I started seeing someone that this chick knew, like, and she was like still madly like really into me. And then I remember her, I can't remember if she phoned me or voice noted me, but the next day she sent me a message and she was like, "No, you're a fucking cunt. You're a fucking piece of shit." Like literally like saying the worst things to me. And I was just there, like sat there like in my head, I was like, oh, like that's a shame. Like that's a shame. She feels like zero like negative emotion, zero like literally nothing off the back of the mushroom trip, man. I just feel like the mental, I don't know, just the clarity it gives you is crazy.
That's nuts.
But that's the way that I, like, obviously avoid the trip. Like I don't really go on runs and see pools and stuff. But the way that I talk about running though is like that gives me the clarity. I get clarity when I go out and it's an early morning and it's nice and quiet, and I go down the nice country lanes and I get lost and I think like I get lost in my thoughts. That's when I get my mental clarity. I don't know.
Or it's almost like I'd say maybe it's like you don't. It's almost the opposite. You don't get lost in your thoughts, because the purpose of meditation or psychedelics like these, like when someone meditates, it's to detach yourself from that voice in your head. It is like they say it's detaching from the self. It's like the idea.
It's the like I'll be running and then like I don't know, 20 minutes later I'll be like, whoa.
Yeah, you're just focused, aren't you? Your mind is quiet. You're like detaching from all those thoughts and those worries. So it's the same fucking thing, bro. Yeah.
You mentioned, bro, after the whole mushroom experience that you've been pretty consistent with your meditation and stuff like that. I want to know, because I'm curious and it's something that I think I would benefit from tapping into. What does that actually look like? Is it you sat outside on a yoga mat going or, well, yeah, is it that? Or is it a run, or I don't know, whatever that is. And then also the positive effects that you feel from that, where you feel like you have to touch base and you have to do that every day.
Yeah. So it's working backwards. I feel like the positive effects are from it. Well, I said I like to read into things, and there's so much science on meditation. It's not just like a woo-woo thing. There's actual structural changes that you see happening in brain scans and like fMRIs. It's crazy, like things to do with how you can concentrate, how you can focus, your ability to withstand pain, for example. I think is another really big one. There's studies done on this. So if meditation was a drug, it'd be worth millions, man. If you could take it in a pill, like it would be worth trillions. It wouldn't even be like a numerical value. So there's so many benefits to it. Which is why I do it every single day. And for me, like, I'm very ADHD. I can struggle to focus. I can struggle to lock in and concentrate at times. And if I start my day with meditation, even like 10 minutes, then the rest of the day is so much better and it follows suite. Like it just locks me in. It just starts my day right. And then how do I actually do it? I use a app called Waking Up. That's what I use. So I can do it unguided, or you can do it unguided just by focusing on your breath with a timer. But I like to use an app by Sam Harris called Waking Up, and that is effectively that. I do 10 minutes minimum every day. I went for a stage where I did do an hour a day. I think it's for maybe a couple of weeks. I can't remember. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done, bro. It was so freaking difficult.
Why?
But why did I do it?
No, why was it so hard? I mean,
it's like, it's weird. Like I'd go through like bouts of anxiety when I started to imagine, like, because you try not to move either. So any kind of pain or discomfort, you just try and focus on it. So imagine sitting doing nothing for most.
Yeah, I can't sit and do nothing for an hour anyway.
Yeah, most people can't even sit in a room for a few minutes. I think again, there's this. I swear, there's another study.
Bro, I can't even sit in the cinema for an hour without having to.
Yeah, I swear there's. I swear there's a study where people were put in a room with nothing to do, and they had the option to electrocute themselves. Or something. Could be making this up. Yeah, I swear it's real. Someone can go search it. But people would rather endure pain than sit there doing nothing at all, because the pain of just being with your thoughts is like just doing nothing is worse. But yeah, I feel like it makes you more mentally resilient. It makes me able to focus better. The way I do it is just 10 minutes minimum. I'm gonna try and up that to 20 again, because that's what I kind of do regularly, of guided meditation in the morning. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
So when you say guided meditation, I'm curious now about the app. So is that saying, and breathe in, 1, 2, 3, and breathe out? Like what?
So if you want to start it, I'd say Headspace is a good place to start, because that's kind of the basics of it. Like breathe in, like you focus on your breath, like 1, 2, 3, breathe out, Headspace. The Sam Harris one is kind of a bit more advanced, or it's a little bit more woo-woo, in the sense that it's like you focus on your breath, or you imagine you have no head, or you stare blankly at a wall, and it's semi-guided in that sense. But yeah, the way I kind of got into it was, obviously I started meditating. I read The Power of Now. It's a really good book as well. It's kind of an interesting spiritual book. I think E-Man recommended that actually as well.
No way.
Ages ago. Yeah, I knew E-Man when he was like little kid. How mad is that?
Well, like you actually knew him?
Yeah, I stayed at his house. Did I stay at his house? He stayed at my house. I might have stayed at his house.
No fucking way, bro.
Yeah, so that's
like one of my biggest inspirations in business.
It's weird how small the world is, man. But yeah, he's fucking killing it. But he's
still in contact.
Did you guys just go to school together?
No, we didn't go to school together. So I was probably around, how old was I? When I used to be with Gymshark. When I first met like the Gymshark crew, we were both kind of making YouTube videos, like dumb vlog stuff.
And he was doing like gym stuff,
He was like 15, 16, yeah. And he was like, at this time, he was like kind of like PTing people every now and then. Yeah. And then he was also flipping Instagram accounts. And I met him at that Gymshark meet. And then we kind of stayed in touch, became friends, saw each other a few times from there. And then saw him a few other times, like nights out in London and stuff. He used to use a fake ID, which is like 17 years old, going to like clubs and shit. It was just fucking hilarious. And then he started working for Genflow, they're called now. Do you know Genflow?
Yeah.
I like that influencer brand. And then he shot a video, which is quite weird in hindsight, came down to Plymouth when I was at uni, shot a video for Genflow for like my story kind of thing, slept on my sofa, and then, yeah, rest is history. Now he's like
so
killing
nuts.
it. It's mad, it's mad.
Are you still in touch?
I don't really chat to him anymore. He follows me, but I haven't spoken to him in years probably. So
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe drop him a DM and say, oh, by the way, I had this great podcast. You should come on in.
yeah, bro. I know we haven't spoken in about 5 years, but how's it going, buddy? But yeah, anyway, it was like E-Man's always been into kind of like reading books and that kind of spiritual thing. I think he recommended The Power of Now. And then there's another one called Waking Up by Sam Harris, which is really good. So Sam Harris is like, I like science and stuff, and I don't just like shit for the sake of shit because someone's told me it, but he's I think he's a neuroscientist, so he goes over the science of it and really explains it and breaks it down. But yeah, man, it's just basically the purpose of meditation. It isn't so much about not thinking anything. I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong, because my girlfriend's like, she'll try and meditate, she's like, I can't stop thinking, like I keep thinking. But the acknowledgement of that thought is the purpose of it. If you're able to acknowledge, let's say that you obviously close your eyes, you focus on your breath, like you breathe in, you focus on your breath and the feeling of that, and you just try and focus on that one thing, don't you? You try and empty your mind. It can be anything. It can be your breath. It can be pain. It can be a sound that you focus on. But then the idea of that is you're only thinking about that one thing, and then eventually your mind's going to start to wander.
Pops up.
Yeah, and you're going to start, and then you'll realize, you'll be like, oh shit, I fucked it up. I've started thinking about something else. But the actual acknowledgement of that is the purpose of it, because you create a separation between like your crazy mind and all the thoughts going on and that.
I feel like you've just put it into words the way that I was before
with the running.
So like, not even just from running, but like when I go back to myself at maybe 17, 18, 19, there was no separation between my thoughts and myself. I thought that this was me. Yeah. And I remember I was like, I searched it on YouTube. I was like, how do you stop overthinking? And like the guy it was like an 18-minute video. I literally watched like the first minute. Yeah. And because I really thought that I had something wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, I can't stop overthinking these thoughts. Like, they're me. I searched on YouTube, like, in the first minute in the video, the guy was like, every time you have thoughts, just tell yourself that those thoughts aren't you. And I was like, right. I was like, got it. And I tried it and it fucking worked.
Yeah, man, it's weird, isn't it? It sounds like, because again, I used to be really cynical of this and be like one of those pessimistic people that used to take the piss out of everything and take the piss out of everyone. But
same.
But yeah, literally that. But yeah, but there is science behind it, and I do really think that it's like the idea of the self or whatever that isn't actually you. That's just a build up of your experiences through your life, and then you tell yourself this story that I'm thinking these things and I'm making these decisions, when in reality it's just you're just going through the motions and you're controlled by this self that isn't actually your authentic true self. Can I play
devil's advocate there?
Go on.
Pull it back a little bit to earlier on in the conversation. I asked you if you thought that you were destined for greater things as a kid. Would I be contradicting the point that you just made by saying that was just a thought that you couldn't separate yourself from, which allowed you to have that delusional mindset, which was, I will do that, I will do this. Yes. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say it's like, okay, so enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment is the idea that you're free from this self, right? So spiritual enlightenment is the idea that you don't have, you're completely detached from this idea of self. So you have no ego, you have like your consciousness ultimately. And then obviously having that, like, am I ever going to get to that? No. Is anyone in this country ever going to get to that? No, probably not. Has anyone ever got to that? Maybe. Like, I don't know.
Like monk in the top of the
Buddha, like, you know.
Someone
like
who completely dedicates their life to that. That's their whole purpose. But I think as a normal person, that is unattainable.
It's never going to happen, is it? And maybe you get a glimpse of it if you do some, let's say, fat, really enlightening mushroom trip. Like, you get a glimpse of what that's like momentarily. But going back to your original point, I think it's a balance between the two. It's like having, like, being able to separate yourself through doing things like, whether it's your running, whether it's your meditation, whatever it is, through being able to like calm your mind and separate yourself from that thing. But also obviously it's going to have an element of control, like that is ego driven, isn't it? Being like, I'm destined for more, which is going to be positive.
Sorry, bro. I like the idea, the way that you just put it, by being able to control and have balance of that separation. Because sometimes those crazy thoughts, yes, sometimes they may be negative, but sometimes that might be the the crazy thought that leads to being the $100 million business that you create, or I don't know, reach out to this person and say sorry, which ends up then being your best friend again. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like these crazy thoughts that spiral through you, that spiral through your head, I would say, also do make me me.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's some times where I would probably need to separate myself from them, or I can switch off, or I should try and switch off more. But to try and kind of escape them fully, I don't know, that's not attractive to me at all.
But I feel like you will never be able to.
Yeah.
It's not
like aiming towards that, let's say.
It's a weird one. I guess it's
a bit deep. But
control's probably not the right word.
Right.
I'd say awareness is the right word, because I think control, it's more of an awareness of that, and be able to separate what you really want from the noise, or like,
You made me have a thought when you brought psychedelics back into it, to the mix, and losing yourself over psychedelics, like for like a long period of time, because effectively, like what you're doing, like obviously I know that you might be tripping and stuff like that, but you lose yourself in your thoughts, don't you? Right, and like you're thinking a bunch of things, and like you're seeing a bunch of stuff, but like you're kind of away from the realization of life and everything like that, and you're completely lost. It's kind of like meditation in a way. I doubt that that's an original thought. A bunch of people have probably had it before, but like maybe that's where that comes from. Like, let's say it's like an 8-hour trip, and it's like 8 hours of you being like, and it's like spiraling from like a bunch of things. Do you get what I'm trying to get at?
So what I've done,
I don't know how to put it into words, because I've never even had this thought before.
I kind of understand where you're coming from. I don't fully understand it. I think I get the gist of it. But when I've done, let's say, super long meditation, for example, or really got into it, like really into like deep meditation, it feels the same as being in a mushroom trip, effectively, without like seeing all the crazy visuals and shapes. Yeah, without seeing all the crazy visuals and shapes and stuff. It's like that feeling of, of within is the same.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that's a great place for us to round off, guys. I feel like we could speak all night, and we probably would like go into like 100 different topics.
Yeah, maybe sound like a spiritual fanatic, right?
Yeah. But Mo, man, I want to say on behalf of me and H, and to everybody listening, thank you so much for coming down. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, bro.
Nah, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for the invite. The conversation's been sick, absolutely sick.
I really enjoyed it, and just in general, just to connect is really, really dope. And let's run it back.
100%, man. Cheers, boys.
Appreciate you, bro. We appreciate all of you guys too, man. If you're on Spotify, make sure you leave us a rating and a follow if you haven't already. And on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Vamos.
Beautiful. Cheers, lads. That was good fun.
That was good, man.
I have to link up and do a skydive sometime.